Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Amuna experiencing a bit of technical difficulties, but we're going to let it do what it do. It happened before. Let me just give me 2 seconds before I get started. We are going to talk about the slave engagement pictures. I tried to do this video before, but I have to redo it. So here we go. And why it's causing so much of an uproar. So stand by and we'll be back. All right, all right, all right. This is a bit of resistance training. The internet is trying not to let me be great, but I am still here. Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Amuna. Now I'm a little bit turned up because I did this video already, and I realized the sound quality was bad because something's wrong with the feed. So I'm doing it again, and this time I'm gonna do it a little bit more turned up. Okay. For those who just joined us, welcome to the conversation. The conversation, okay, about the contention, about what's going on in this here dimension. Okay, the internet is ablaze right now. People are in their feelings. You feel me? About this photo shoot. Now I saw it yesterday and made mention in passing because I was scratching my head like, this is interesting. But I'm the type that likes things to marinate. I like the dust to settle. I like the soup to cool before I drink it because you don't want to burn your tongue. And this internet doesn't allow for that because people want to jump to conclusions. We out here playing hopscotch. We don't know what's going on, right? And so I don't like playing hopscotch. Hey, what's going on, Queen T? Welcome to the conversation. Right. So you were here yesterday, Queen T, when I mentioned in passing that I seen it. But, to me, it gave me 90 Day vibes. And for those who don't know about 90 Day Fiance, it's usually about people from other countries who are possibly looking to come to or immigrate to America. But what I've meant is that it didn't vibrate to me just in looking at the pictures like this brother was from the mainland. That's what I said. And you can check the tape yesterday. So today I had a little time before I have to go run out. And I was like, all right, Amuna, shout out to one of the subscribers. She was like, the word on the street is he's Dominican. After I said what I said, I was like, that's fascinating. And it makes more sense. Right. So there I go. I came across a video by Paris Milan, but I'm not going to go to her video yet. What I'm going to do is read some of these, the uproar, right? People are kicking up dust. And I like to ask, what are you mad about? Because if we're kicking up dust and we don't know what we're mad about, then we're just being reactionary. We just want something to talk about. We just want to be offended. We have become addicted to being offended, and we don't even know why we're offended. So I'm going to read some of these comments. Reading about the history is offensive. Looking at the history is offensive. Watching movies about the history is offensive. At some point, we have to get beyond the offense and process what is being said, what is being translated, right? Because if we can't get through it, then every time someone brings it up, you're going to get right back to the point again. So this is one of the okay. So you see what's happening now. Give me a minute while I plug this up, because if I don't, it's about to go. You know what? The internet won't let me be great this week. Oh no. It's hating on me. All right. So everybody's writing about it. Everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. I'm trying to figure out what all the hubbub is about. So basically, we see the pictures right here. They depict an interracial marriage, right? So Madame Noir is like, what in the antebellum? So in a few of the puzzling Slavish photos, the couple appears to be standing on a sugarcane plantation where the black groom is pictured shackles and chains. We already, and then it says 18, he says, here's where things get even worse. The burgeoning married couple even had the nerve to create a storyline for the intensive and very racist photo shoot. In 1842, days passed and everything changed. Our love got stronger and stronger. He was no longer a slave. He was a part of the family. The caption reads. In the words of Cardi B, what was the reason? Right? So I'm going to read some of what the people are saying on Twitter, right? This is so insulting. I won't even tweet this because they don't deserve attention. And what photographer would take a job like this? I seriously just can't get over how this actually happened and the number of people who must have said Slav pics. Oh, sounds great. Please let this be a movie. All jokes aside, why do you think this couple had the audacity to poke fun at slavery's dark and horrific past, especially for a moment that always reflects love and union? Right? That's what a few people said on that thing. I'm going to just keep reading. Hey, good morning, India. We're going to try to get into this. We need some music. We need some music. Oh, man. The internet won't let me be great this week. I'm not even going to try nothing extracurricular because, we might get some violins because the people are reacting. But I'm trying to figure out which part of this. Somebody else came along and said there's so much to unpack here. I'm with that Twitter user. There is so much to unpack here. And so let's unpack it. Because now that this is the second time I'm doing this, let's unpack it a little bit. Let's unpack it a little bit. Number one, according to Paris Milan, she did some research before the internet wholly came for these people and they put all of their pages on private. What we came to understand is that the man who I said gave me 90-day vibes. Oh, I have a good voice. The man who thank you. The man who gave me 90-day vibes, it was for a reason. You know, he reminds me of the guy who first married Molly. I forgot his name. If you watch 90 Day, you know who I'm talking about. You know, I'm always forgetting names too. Pedro, I think his name was. No, Pedro's who married Family Chantel. Nonetheless, he's from the Dominican Republic. No wonder he was giving me 90-day vibes, okay? So the guys from the Dominican Republic, the assertion that this is a sugarcane plantation or a spot may be very true. They found him, she's Spanish and not white, but I guess, you know, Hispanic, quote. And the photographer is also from the Dominican Republic. What is this telling us? It's telling us, A, that the people on the mainland continent are so triggered and wholly think that the slave narrative, we talked about this yesterday, solely belongs to the melanated people who are enslaved here, that the concept or the thought that this could not even be in relation to what happened here was far from the minds of the people, right? That this is, many people got offended and said, this is a dig at American slavery. This took back Americans how many years? The reality is slavery took place all throughout Central, South, and the Caribbean and mainland America. So, and the people dressed like we're seeing here in the Caribbean. They dressed like that in America. They dressed like that in South America. That's number one. So one of the things that we need to, or it would be beneficial for us to unpack, is that, quote, Black Americans, which I don't like that term, those who were enslaved here on the continent of North America do not own the slave narrative. It's not solely that their story to tell, because other people experience slavery and enslavement from that same transatlantic slave trade. And just showing that it goes directly to, this is about American slavery, shows the fact that we have not become accustomed to what slavery looked like in other places, right? It's like people are on different jails. One is in Attica and one is in, Rikers. It's two different jails. It's still jail. But the minute you show a jail, oh, I know it, it's Rikers. No, that may not be Rikers. Right? So it's kind of that understanding that it goes beyond. The second thing is Dominica. There's a lot of Dominicans, not all, but there are some who don't think that they're Black, even though like they because their socialization, their experience on their island, with those of whom were their oppressors, give them a different understanding. Like we were talking about, Queen T asked the question yesterday, we were having this very same conversation. Now that we put this picture into context, it doesn't excuse what's being done, but it gives us an opportunity to, like one of the Twitter users say, unpack some of what we're seeing, which is A, this is something that is speaking volumes, and we can tell because of the way the people are reacting. B, these people are not even from America, and they're depicting possibly slavery of how it looked in their place, which would have been Hispaniola in 1842 or whatever she said, which is before Haiti and Dominican Republic splits, and it's in this one space in Hispaniola. Miscegenation in that area, in the Dominican Republic is great. You have meaning, not great. There's a lot of it, meaning not great, like, oh, it's great, meaning that there is a lot of miscegenation, and it carries a different tone and context there than it does here, because of the way in which the people were socialized on these places. When we talk about Hispaniola, when we talk about Haiti, there was a lot of, this is what was going on in the culture in Louisiana, which a lot of people came from Haiti. This is where we see a lot of the French mixing with the native people, and you have a lot of mulattoes and quadroons and octoroons. coming from this place. We need to know history. But when we talk about history, it's a snooze fest. And then when we see a picture that reflects history to us, we get offended. Okay, it's 2021. It's 2021. Y'all ran the people off the internet. Y'all wholly came for them. We can't even ask them no questions because they're hiding. What do they know about the history? Like people's asking, whose idea was this? Yeah, Queen T says she's in New Orleans. So when we talk about the history of what's going on, and we can put in context that these people are from Dominican Republic, what she's depicting, I'm not going to bat for them. I'm just saying there may be another way to look at this. Truth be told, here's going to be an uncomfortable fact. You know what I mean? Get your tea, drink some water. It'll be okay. The truth is, and I said this before, to be free in this time, one had to be manumitted, right? Or had the ability to buy or purchase your freedom from the oppressor. So the fact is, even though it makes us feel uncomfortable, the representation of the oppressing class, be it Spanish, be it French, be it English, had to be it Portuguese, had to, during this time, be the one to set you free. If you or your foreparents try to usurp or take their freedom, it would not necessarily be recognized worldwide or recognized in that jurisdiction. You would just be a maroon. You would just be a Marrano, someone who escaped, someone who has to live off, on the fringes. Somebody has to live off the plantation. But if you wanted to be wholly recognized as a free person, you had to have free papers. And who gave you free papers? The ruling class. So historically, she had to, quote, set him free or take the chains off in order to qualify to marry him. I know it makes us feel uncomfortable. I know we want to be triggered, but these are some of the things that I am looking at when I'm looking at this to say, this is historical fact, bruh. What part of it are you mad at? Are you mad at that it happened? Are you mad at that they showing you how it happened, what it looks like? Are you mad at what it's suggesting? Like, help me to help you to help us so we can get past, I can't believe like this is like a thing in the sense of, people are just mad, but they're not really expressing the fullness. The truth is the truth. Thank you, Queen T. The truth is the truth. They're not really like, oh, I'm mad. Okay, about what? What part? What part? There are plenty of people in this day and age that are mixing. And my computer ain't working right now, and that's why I'm not showing my screen on the thing. There's plenty of people who are mixing interracial. So they're making it about an interracial thing. If this was two melanated people, will you still be mad? If it was a European man and a Black woman, would you be mad? I'm trying to figure out what parts would you be mad? Because are you mad that they're interracial? Are you mad that it's a slavery scene? Are you mad that she's the one who has to free him? Are you mad? Would you be mad if it was a European man and a melanated woman? I mean, what part though? I'm not saying you shouldn't be mad. I'm just saying if you're mad, it's like, use your words. Help us to understand what's going on. There's somebody who said all of my African ancestors who crossed the Middle Passage just rolled over in their graves after seeing that slave-themed wedding shoot. No, some of them were actually doing it. Some of them were the ones who were marrying so that they can be freed. Frederick Douglass, creator rest him, at first he married a melanated woman and then he came back and married a European woman. Yeah. Queen T says, don't think they didn't think this would be controversial. There is a hidden benefit behind this. I mean, I don't know, maybe they did. Like, I went over to his Facebook. The dude is wholly Hispanic, right? He is, music, language, everything. I think they're like physically in the Dominican Republic. So I don't know to what degree they really thought this through, or what kind of implication it was. It's like if you go to another culture and you do the peace sign, here it would possibly be, peace. Over there, if it translates different, you wouldn't realize that, oh, I was just waving. And those are like the little cultural differences. Slavery existed here. Like we said yesterday, it may have existed in a different way. People have a different relationship to it. But historically, in order for them to marry, she would have had to have freed him. Yeah. Sally Hemings and Thomas Jefferson, they made arrangements. Oftentimes, slave owners or the mistresses who own slaves. Here's another interesting slave fact. Enslaved peoples were passed down like inheritances, right? Somebody, they inherited a slave, they may give it to their daughter or their son or their grandchildren, whatever the case may be. And then they have the choice or the ability to free the person, of which, after however many years, under these conditions, I would free you X, Y, and Z. Because in this slave dominant class society, the master, quote unquote, has the ability to free the slave. So you understand what I'm saying? So I know that the history can be jarring, but we cannot not want to look at it and then get all the way upset when it's being depicted factually. I'm not cheerleading for what's happening. I'm just saying, if we look at what's happening objectively, it happened. It was like what we talked about yesterday about Grandmother's Secret, refusing to acknowledge what happened, right? And then getting offended when the fallout. Now, does he think that this is a good route to go? I don't know. We would have to ask him. Does he think this is, that in Brazil, there is a thought process that you lighten the what do you call, you lighten the lineage, you whiten the lineage. And so if you brought darker people home, your own people will be like, no. So you kind of whitewash out your bloodline for going for more European looking or exactly European peoples in Brazil. So how do we know that this is not the culture in Dominican Republic? That in the Dominican Republic, how do we know that for them this is a win? Because he's dark, he got a European looking woman to get with, and now this is him taking a step into the quote unquote right direction. That was a fraudulent step. I said the right direction, a step into the right direction. Hey, I'm just saying, culturally, now that we can calm down, that this is not America, now that we can understand that this is in Dominica that had slavery, so he has a right to this, no matter how weird it seems. Now that we understand that there's a different culture, how are we looking at this? Did this set you back? Because like I said, for them, it may be a step forward. It may be a step forward. I'm not saying it is a step forward. I'm just saying some of this stuff is just very reactionary. And like I said, and I'm gonna wind it up. Anybody have anything to say, feel free to do so. We automatically think that slavery, it's the African American story. No, all throughout the first slaves came to Haiti. They brought them there looking for gold. And they came to Brazil. They was digging in mines looking for gold early on. Later on, the English settlers brought enslaved bodies to the Americas. But this is everybody's story. This is everybody's story. Queen T says, I was told I was too dark in New Orleans when I dated a lighter skinned person years ago. This is what I'm trying to say. Culturally, for some people, this direction means that you will have a better life. Your offspring will have a better life because you're closer to the quote unquote ruling class. If we don't learn every time just something like this happens, and then we just, oh, you're mad, I'm mad, we mad. And then the next time it happens, oh, I'm mad, you mad, we mad. And then we're going to pretend like this is not happening where we are as well, where people are, oh, I'm going to get a lighter skinned person, even if they're not wholly European. I'm going to get a lighter skinned person because that means X, Y, and Z. Right? That means you're one step closer. That means all of these things. It has these meanings that we ascribe to it. To pretend that it doesn't, like I said, if it was a melanated woman and a European man freeing her, would we still be upset? Are we upset because he wasn't changed? Because that's also a historical reality. I'm going to leave it there, you guys. Comment below. Let me know your thoughts. I got to find out what's wrong with the mic on my laptop. Calm down, internet. Calm down. I know we want, fodder for the fire, But come on already. Come on. Was it the best decision? No. Does it depict reality? Yes. Oh, here's one more thing I wanted to say. I covered it before. Do we know about the number of people, and I covered this before, presently here in America that get married on plantations? Do we know that there are whole plantations right now that are still operational, that were inherited from the plantation owners, passed down through their families, that rent out wedding venues for people to have plantation weddings? And somebody right now, somewhere in the deep South, may be actually planning their wedding right in front of the slave quarters where your foreparents once lived. Are we still outraged? Are we trying to go over there and bust up their plantation wedding? If you Google, which I cannot right now, plantation weddings, you will see a whole host of things come up where this culture, so this didn't just pop out the blue is what I'm saying. People are actually doing this. They just depicted themselves actually there. Like they took the plantation wedding theme one step further. But make no mistake about it. There are operational plantations here in America, and there are people paying thousands of dollars to get married there. So our selective outrage about what's going on in the Dominican Republic. I know we didn't know it was the Dominican Republic. Let me read a few more. To see people romanticize this is infuriating. These people are too much. There is no such thing as slave consent, and the sexual abuse of male slaves was real. Yeah, it was real. It was real. Romanticized? No, there were a lot of enslaved peoples who saw their way to freedom by marrying or being with the European. It's the same way that you go to another country or you come to this country and you see a way to stay or you see a way to escape by marrying the ruling quote class or the person who has more power than you. Oh, Queen T says, distractions. Many plantations here, I know, black and white have gotten married there. Oops. What? Black and white people getting married at plantations and bringing their pictures? The only thing is they didn't dress up like slave master and the enslaved. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, Queen T. I mean, it's a distraction. I would agree, but in addition to it being a distraction, it is something that holds us back because it's internalized. Like it wouldn't be a distraction if we honestly deal with the information and move through the information, move through all those feelings, move through that resentment and hurt, and actually be honest about the fact that, yo, this happened. This has happened, right? It's history. You look back, it makes you feel uncomfortable, but it's history. Somebody else said, I think this is about the most disgusting thing I've ever seen on this app, ever. But it's history. You know what I mean? If you look back, maybe one of your ancestors was that person. Like, yo, I went over before the Jack Johnson story. You remember Jack Johnson? Jack Johnson was born, he was one of the early, I'm gonna look him up, prize fighters in the early 1900s. His family was born into slavery. Okay? And Jack Johnson, at that time, he got in trouble because in America there were these anti-miscegenation laws, and he got in trouble for is his name Jack Johnson? Yeah, he got in trouble for messing with European women and refusing to stop. Boxer Jack Johnson, born in Galveston, Texas, 1878. In 1908, he became the first African American to win the world heavyweight crown when he knocked out the reigning champ, Tommy Burns. Look at the story of Jack Johnson. Okay, I think if I read correctly, his parents were born into slavery. He knew the implications of what it meant, and he refused. He was like the guy in the photo. I don't care what y'all say. He was like the guy in the photo. He don't care what y'all say. He gonna do what it does. Maybe he didn't dress up to the degree that this man dressed up. Hold on. Let me see Jack Johnson's marriages. You remember him? Chris says, I remember him. Johnson engaged in various relationships, including 3 documented marriages. All of his documented wives were white. All of his documented wives were white. All of his documented wives were white. At the height of his career, Johnson was exonerated by the press for his flashy lifestyle. No, not exonerated. For his flashy lifestyle and for having married white women. According to Johnson, 1927 autobiography, he married Mary Austin, a black woman from Galveston, Texas. No record exists of this marriage. So it's so fascinating and interesting that the melanated woman who he say he married, she probably got the bedside, nod and agree wedding, but the ones that are on record were European. Okay? So this has been happening. Even under threat of society coming against him, he fought for the right not only to be the boxing champion, but for the right to marry European women. And this is not where it begins. I have a book, I think it's in storage, that talks about it talks about love stories in slavery. What's going on, Truthful Perspective? Give thanks. It talks about love stories in slavery. I cannot remember the name of the book right now. And in there, you have your melanated men running off with European women to Canada to get married. And they would have looked like this picture. If you did it early enough, you would have looked like what's going on in this picture. He would have said, in order for me to be free, I have to marry X, Y, and Z, because guess what? Remember that law that we read? It's all coming together. I know people, sometimes the Munag has to go all around the world and but check it out. Remember we read that the status of the child follows the mother's womb, okay? Understand about law now. The status of the child follows the mother's womb. Then when we were talking about the history of single motherhood, and people were like, no, I don't agree. That's what's up. I feel you. But the status of the child follows the mother. Now, in this European melanated male dynamic, what would the children be? Talk to me. What would the children be if the status of the child follows the mother? Type in the box. I'm trying to get the actual name of the law. What would the children be? What would his offspring be in this dynamic of the European woman and the melanated male? According to law, would he be enslaved or would the child be free? Anybody? Because we have to put it all together, don't we? The name of it is Partus Secutor Ventrum. We went over this, right? It would be free. The status of the child would be free. Why? Because the womb, the state of the womb, or the state of the person, is going to determine whether that child is free or enslaved. So in this case, the child would be free according to law because the mother is a European. If the man was European and the mother was melanated, that child would be a slave. There was a woman who sued because she had a black mother. Man, what's her name? Now y'all making me go into the crates. There was a woman who sued. I'm gonna give you her name early on, and that's when they changed the laws. The Virginia oh, Muna, you know when you gotta go for a file way in the back of your mind. I want to say her name is Elizabeth. Hold on. Right? Hold on. I'm gonna tell you right now. It all comes together, and I think Elizabeth Key. I knew her name was Elizabeth. Elizabeth somebody. Hold on. Elizabeth Key. And this is when they started messing around and changing the laws. Yeah. So we're talking about law, which Grinstead, that's her name. I knew her name was Elizabeth. Okay, so Elizabeth, she sues. And maybe we'll come back and talk about this later, but just keep that name in mind if you want to look it up. Elizabeth Cree Grinstead. Right? And see what's happening at that time and when they begin to change the laws. So in this dynamic, I say that to say the people of the town, the people of that day would have understood that in this dynamic, your child is free. The melanated man's child would be free because the mother is free. But if it was the other way around, the child would be enslaved. And this is why the slave master, he made more slave babies because he impregnated. So the market value, quote unquote, the market value would be different for this dynamic versus the other dynamic. That's why they say it's a lot to. Yeah, the state of the child determines the mother, and the name of that that we looked at was I gave that law already, so we look back over there. There's a video. I'll link it below. I say all that to say this is giving us an opportunity to do what we're doing now. If we get past the triggered emotions and we get to understanding what's being said, where it's being said, the context of what happened in the Dominican Republic. I didn't have time to go look up all of Dominican history. That's a whole nother barrel of worms, right? But I do know over in the Dominican Republic, they have a different dynamic and a different culture of the way in which they deal with race relations and expectations of X, Y, whatever it is, blah, 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 whatever it is. So this is my thoughts. Let me know yours. Let me go back through. What part is not true, Nasha? White women, I mean, in the context of slavery, yeah. If in the context of slavery, about whose womb would make you free and whose womb would make you enslaved, in that context, yes, the child would be free. Thumbs up the video. Thumbs up the video. Let me go there. In that context, in the context of slavery, the child would be free. I'm talking about the context of law. And so there's a lot of melanated men who understood that if they impregnated their if they impregnated their love, the woman, the value of your child is going to be lessened when you have a child. I'm just talking about epigenetics. I'm talking about history. I'm talking about the way in which people reason with their reality. The value of your child would be less in this system if you had her or him with another melanated person. First of all, you wouldn't have any rights. There would be nothing that you can do. You can't intercede. We see that illustrated in this case of Kizzy and what's your name again? And Kunta and the mother, Belle. There we go. Right? When time comes for, they couldn't do anything. They were powerless to do anything. They were, right? Because the master everybody were perpetual children, and the master is the one who can determine what happens to her and what her punishment will be. Okay? I'm going to find the name of that book again. These love stories from, maybe we'll come and read about some of these love stories between enslaved men and white women, European women. I know it's going to make us feel a bit uncomfortable, but they had to reason to themselves something. It wasn't just because I think she's prettier. Here. Oh, y'all going to make me have to come back. I got to run and go do some shopping. But a look at the love affairs between enslaved black men and rich white women. Ooh, this look like it's about to be good. Hey, we about to come back and read this. We are about to come back and read. How about we do that? If I have enough time, I'm going to run now. And we're going to look at the affairs between enslaved black men and rich white women. How about we do that? So we'll be back a little later, and set your notification, like, subscribe, share the video, and let's take this as a teaching moment. All right. Thank everybody for tuning in. This is Amuna. Let me go ahead and go over here, press a little something let me give a little commercial. Hold on, peoples. We got to pay the bills. We got to pay the bills. Let's introduce ourselves. We're the Yummy Cottage. Okay, this video is brought to you by the Yummy Cottage. You open your search browser, you put in the Yummy Cottage.com. Oops, Cottage.com. And then you go on over to the Yummy Cottage. And here we are. And we have seasonings. This is what our special is right now. The international pack of seasoning curry special blend with organic turmeric, Tex-Mex, Jamaican jerk. We have chicken. Listen, you put it on anything. You put it on your Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are my thing right now, by the way. You put it on your tofu, if that's what you eat, your chicken alternative. You put it in your rice. You make, broth, all that good stuff. So go on over to the Yummy Cottage. Check us out. That's who's sponsoring the video. If you enjoyed it, press like and share and all that good stuff. And we will make another one. All right?